Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you might be in the world. It's episode 122 of the Pro Synth Network live show. Merchandise, there we go. Go to our Facebook page if you want to get one of these and other accoutrements and garments with our logo on. Please do. All funds go to help us keep the channel running. Welcome one and all. I hope you're all well and have had a great week, and that it's maybe a little bit cooler where you might be. Certainly here in the UK it's a little fresher now. It's not so bad, and I hope that you're all well and doing fine. We've got a great show for you today. We've got a very special guest, a returning guest no less, and we will introduce you to that person just very shortly. Before we do, let's just get the stuff out of the way. So first of all, don't forget you can follow us over on all the social media channels. So we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and of course we're right here on YouTube, so make sure that you follow us there to get updates and little treats and tidbits. If you want to help keep the show going on air, because we rely completely on viewer funding, then you can do that in any number of ways. You can donate through our PayPal account, which is there just on the screen. Link is also in the description below. But of course you can also donate if you're watching on YouTube using the super chat or super stickers function, which is in the chat window. And of course if you're watching this on catch up, first of all, why weren't you watching us live? But anyway, thank you for watching us on catch up, and you can do the same with the thanks button underneath the screen. If you want to make a small donation to help keep us going, it would be greatly appreciated. Also, of course, do us a favor and like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of that social media stuff to help us promote the channel. It's growing all the time, more subscribers, and we get putting lots of content up. So please feel free to spend an afternoon whizzing through some of the great shows that we've had over the last couple of years or so, and let everyone else know that you think might want to know. If you have a question for anybody on the show today, including our esteemed guest, then if you could just prefix your question with the letter Q, it just helps us pick them out of the chat, and then we can move them to our question bucket, where we will then delve into during the show and put those questions to our esteemed panel. I'm using the word esteemed a lot today. When you meet them, you'll realise that's probably only relevant for one of them. Let's first of all meet our regulars on the show. Let's go to Mr. Ben Simpson over or up, should I say, in the north of England.
Hello. Hello.
So come on, fess up.
Yeah, I've got a dark beard.
You can't hide behind your mic.
No.
Midlife crisis?
It's we're playing Northwich Plaza on Friday with Heaven 17, and I wanted to have a second stab at youth. So I decided to bin off the Captain Birdseye image, and I've turned into the fella off Half-Life instead.
Oh dear,
Gordon Freeman.
But of course, the question on everybody's lips is: do the collars and cuffs match?
Multicolored. Got ginger hair in my nasals. Ginger hair in my nasals. Blonde hair in my orals. I won't go anywhere else.
No, please don't. Other than your adventures with Grecian 2000, how has your week been?
It's been pretty good. Yeah, it's been really good. I'm still getting to grips with the Mac Studio here.
Oh yeah,
loving it. There's not really, anybody who's worried about the M1 compatibility stuff. There's not really much now. I don't. It doesn't seem it to me anyway. Everything I use on a regular basis works fine. Either it's native or it works with that Rosetta 2 thing. So
yes, yeah.
Everything's
good stuff.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Well, thank you as ever for being here. Let's move back to sort of the south of England, where we find synth repairer, restorer extraordinaire, Mr. Kent Spong.
All right.
How you doing?
Yeah. Okay.
Nice little thing behind you there. What's that? Apart from hands looming over you in a Sonic Slate t-shirt.
Yeah, it's 1971 2600.
Very nice. Wonder why you've got that here.
Well, it seemed ridiculous to not have at least one ARP in one of the windows.
This is very true.
I suppose.
Yeah.
So.
Good thinking, Batman. Good thinking. Good week. How's the kitchen going?
Don't.
That well, huh?
Yeah, they said they start tiling tomorrow, which means we should be back out of the garden by September.
Jeez.
It's done.
Fun.
And Charlie was very ill all day today. And
Oh, no.
yeah, so we've been looking after him as well.
Oh, bless him. Is he all right now? Or?
He's perked up a little, but he's not right.
Oh, dear.
Not
Oh,
right.
dear. Well, send our love to Charlie.
Oh, we will.
We also joined today by an occasional guest and kind of contributor to the show, and we love to have him on, as always. He's the author of Synth Gems 1 and many other books besides. He's also an incredible font of synthesizer knowledge, which is why we like him on the show. It's Dr. Mike Medley. Welcome, sir.
Bonsoir.
Open the beer. Oh, no, you know what's going to come next, don't you?
Hello, the nice people in the computer.
There you go.
It's awfully good to see you guys. Glad to be back.
Good evening, good afternoon, shall I say, actually, in your neck of the woods.
Yep, it's a beautiful day actually. We've been hitting high 30s for weeks and weeks now, and we've only gotten a couple of breaks. But you know, I'm stuck in my basement, so it's not like I feel it anyway.
And have you been, since we last saw you, been doing anything interesting?
Well, define interesting. I mean, falling out of a 20th floor window is interesting for a few seconds.
True.
No, just to let people know, it was announced several months ago that we're doing a 50th anniversary retrospective for Roland. It will be our biggest book ever at Bukes, and I'm really hoping people enjoy it, because about half of it is tech stuff and history, and about half of it is some pretty amazing interviews. Actually, it's been a long labor of love, and we're hoping to get it out in the near future. Other than that, I mean, if people want to geek out over really weird, bizarre synth gear, I found an Eigenharp Pico controller.
In a long while.
And I'm actually going to be 3D printing a frame, and I'm going to stick it to my Lindstrument and make the world's coolest guitar.
That'll be fun.
Oh, it will, actually.
Yeah.
I've always wanted one, and the Pico is actually, it does what I need. I have a good friend in London, Edison Rex, Paul Harriman, who has an Eigenharp Alpha, and is just a virtuoso on it. He's amazing. And I've always wanted to try one. So, I picked it up used from somebody in Canada. And I just want to say thank you guys for having me back, and looking forward to basically ruining today's show.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. Ruin away. I don't know how much you can ruin something that's already pretty much a shambles most weeks anyway.
Oh, you have no idea.
Okay, fine. Well, look, welcome. So we've got Mike, we've got Ben, we've got Kent, but we do have a very special guest. This lady has been on the show before. We love having her on as much as we can. This, I think, is the second or third appearance. I can't remember now. But she's back. She's back. She is what is your job title? I can't remember the exact job title now. But she's the boss of the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation. That's all you need to know. It's the one and only Dina Pearlman. Welcome. Of course, we have to let's give you a cheer. There we go. Now, how do you pronounce your new surname?
Efield Pearlman.
It's
Efield,
okay.
yeah.
So, for those that don't know, not that long ago, this lovely lady finally married the love of her life. Yeah. Here we go. There's the wedding shot. You'll see some familiar faces there, of course, the wonderful bride and groom just there. But also, just over to the left, Michelle Mokusa is there as well, along with some other lovely ladies. That's the only picture I could find that had some, you all in there. So there we go. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Many congratulations.
How is married life treating you? Any different?
I'm not used to checking off misses and things like that on forms.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting, but
Yeah.
it's remarkably similar to life before being married. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Any tax breaks?
I have to go through lots of forms, change of name forms. That's what I'm sort of daunted with right now. So
Yeah.
And
Cool.
then, and
Excellent.
now acronyms are not going to work the same as they have before. Now I'm like an interface. Before I was
What, DPI?
Yeah.
Or dots per inch.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, no, brilliant news. Fantastic stuff. And of course, you are the head of the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation.
I think the actual terminology is executive director, but
There you go.
Founder.
That sounds, founder. Yeah. General, wonderful person about the ARP Foundation. We'll speak to you in a little while, of course, about what's going on and what you've got planned and all the things you've been doing and what you've been involved with. But in general, over the since we last spoke on this show, how have things been for you? Busy?
Busy, crazy. It just seems to exponentially get bigger and bigger. I have worked with our resident doctor on helping him with some of research for some of the photographs for said books and things like that.
Yeah.
That's been great. Mike and I also worked on Music Makers and Machines. That was through Google. Arts and Culture.
Google.
It's a wonderful exhibit, and we hope to be doing more. Very, very exciting. It was really fun to do.
And
I think it was fun.
Well,
was it good for you?
Well, was it good for you? And as the actress said to the bishop, it was, at the time with the time constraints, it was kind of fraught, but I'm really proud of the end results.
Yeah.
We just had, there are actually, it's more than one. If you actually search for the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation at Google Arts and Culture in the Music Makers and Machines exhibit, you'll find, I think I ended up doing 7 of them.
Yeah.
There's a focus on the Odyssey. There's a focus on the 2500. There's a focus on the 2600, and then some other stuff, which is all sort of gathered together in one big mess. But I'm really hoping folks enjoy it because it was a labor of love. By the way, Dina, concerning invoicing for that, you still owe me a pizza.
You need to give me your address.
No. When I get to New York in the fall, we'll stand on a street corner and we'll buy some dollar slices, and I'll consider it good.
So we'll give you some real pizza.
Absolutely.
And if anybody wants to go and check out the site that has just been mentioned, let me just bring that up on screen here, because it is an absolutely wonderful endeavour by all concerned. Let me just, where is it? Here it is. There we go. It is, as I said, through Google Arts and Culture, and it's Music Makers Machines, a brief history of electronic music, and it's a real smorgasbord of music technology and loads of cool stuff and articles and pictures and videos, and it's a great multimedia experience.
Go back.
There we go.
A little more. There we are, Alan Pearlman.
There we go.
That was my story.
That was the one that she did, and of course it's the one on the front page. But yeah, if you follow the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation, there's a lot of nice stuff in there. And he was a fascinating man, and I'm actually looking forward to hearing Dina talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, it's always fun to hear Dina talk about her dad and everything, because we've spoken a number of times, haven't we, about about various things. And yeah, it's such a great website. You will get lost in here for hours. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, this is definitely the deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
everything. They have a virtual. They have some virtual synths, and I believe there's an Odyssey, and I think there's also a Moog.
There are several synthesizers that are 3D renderings, and you can actually click on them and turn them around and look at them, and I think you can even hear sounds from them. I'm not sure. Maybe even play them. I never got that deep.
Wow.
Yeah, for some reason it's taking an age to load that part of it, but we'll get back to that. Right, so normally when we do one of these shows, we'll talk about some of the news of the week, some topics that maybe that we want to discuss, but there really isn't anything newsworthy this week.
Well, yes, there is.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is. There's one. There's one
Go on.
item.
Go on.
There's one item.
Go on.
As of this morning, about 4 or 5 hours ago. The wonderful, amazing, beautiful, sexy people at Spitfire Audio have released their newest Labs free instrument.
We did consider putting it on there, and
it's a foghorn, baby.
yeah, exactly. and we played with it last night, and we weren't that impressed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
bummer.
it's not one of their finer ones, should we say?
Oh,
It was
man,
still at the
they're- just the
Rocks.
whole concept of and they said 117 years in the making. I mean, but what are you going to do? I guess
it's free. Yeah.
well, and I guess they must have had trouble getting it into Abbey Road. So who knows?
Yeah, no, we did. We thought, oh look, there's something new from Labs again, and it's a foghorn. And then we played with it last night, and it was like, okay,
Yeah, you just process it. Everything's better through reverb,
there you go. I think
including
Ben's-
opening.
That is it. That is it.
But
That is
about
it,
10
yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
I think it's one of those instruments. That embellishes rather than performs. It
Yes.
sits underneath.
Oh,
Maybe
I'm
that's-
not planning on doing an entire show with nothing but foghorn.
I don't know, that might be fun. That might be fun.
Well,
But anyway, yeah, there's not a huge amount of news, and what there is kind of fairly inconsequential and not that chat-worthy, shall we say. So we've decided we're not going to do any. So we apologise, and there are plenty of other shows that do lots of news. So I don't think we're going, you're not going to miss out on anything if we don't do that this week. Because we have such a wonderful guest, we're going to dedicate the whole show to Dina and to the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation and
Synth
talking
Addict.
about all things up.
Yeah.
Synth
Synth Addict says they should make a foghorn leg horn.
I say it.
You gotta be a magician to keep the kids' attention for more than 5 minutes these days. Blink twice. I say blink twice if any of this is getting through to you, son. I could use the encouragement.
Say, boy, I'm talking to you, boy.
Boy. Before we get into it, I just want. Can we hear some of that 2600 that's behind you there?
I could push
Ken?
it off and see what it does.
No, don't do that. Go on, play a little bit.
Still in tune. Hang on.
Come on, do it properly.
2 hands. See if we can. See if we can get it to do something weird and wonderful. I'm lost already. Hush, woman. There.
There we go.
Yeah.
A versatile instrument.
Yeah, it also
Yummy.
needs its envelope generator needs to be replaced still,
Oh, well.
which is why it's doing weird, odd stuff every now and again. But it's
Kent, I have to say, you're really fast with switching the presets on that thing.
I know it's great. It's just 11, 12, 15, just like that, man. No problem.
Yep, and beautiful. It's a thing of beauty.
Oh yeah.
But there is a thing about an ARP synthesizer, isn't it? It does sound like an ARP synthesizer.
Yeah. Yummy.
It has a. Well, you've got something there to your left there, Dina.
I do. I have a little Korg 2600 Mini.
Oh, how are you finding that?
It's fun. I set it up in about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's it. It's the only patch I've got ready. My presets are all messed up right now. Sorry.
So do you connect that up to a little MIDI controller, or are you just using the interface?
No, I got a. It came.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. It came with a very. It's kind of. It's really easy. So this
it's the Korg USB thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I had to play with one of those at Gearfest in London a few weeks ago, and it is small and it's cute, but it's not unusably small, which is nice. Because I always hate when they shrink things down that it gets to a point like Roland Boutiques. I'm looking at you, that the tiny little knobs and switches. Can't get my fingers in there, but no, it was very nice. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, ergonomically, the front panel is good. What's really interesting is I've always had trouble with octaves, and I could do about an octave and a half with this. It's the keyboard is so because I have small hands, so
yeah. Can I just first of all say to Stylab Music, thank you ever so much for your donation. It's much appreciated. $10. Thank you very much indeed. That shall go into the kitty and be spent on keeping this channel up and running, which I think we've got enough now for at least another year or so. So you're stuck with us, whether you like it or not. So thank you ever so much for your donation. And of course, if you want to donate yourself, super chat, super stickers underneath the chat box in there, or there's the PayPal link under there. Right. So Alan R. Pearlman Foundation. Let's just bring that up onto the screen. Give us an update of what's been going on in the world of the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation. What's new and exciting in that environment?
Okay, so, what's new? What the newest thing is that we have finally set an actual proper date for the Synthposium. Originally, it was going to be in September, but this summer has been really fraught with. If you click on that little psychedelic Odyssey, there we go.
It's just taking a there we go.
It was impossible to actually get it to the September date, and in retrospect, between September and October, there's 1.5 million synth events. So I think it's much better to have it a little bit later, right before the snow starts, because we are hoping to add in-person component, but the majority of it's going to be online, so it will be available to everyone, especially our panelists will be joining us online.
And can you tell us who some of those might be? Or
one of them is hopefully going to be my brother from another mother, Dr. Mike Medley, and hopefully Lisa Belladonna is going to join us. And we're in the midst of trying to figure out how we're going to do that. I actually this is sort of segues into this past weekend. I spent a weekend with her in the studio.
Nice.
And we created a whole bunch of content for the foundation. We did a synth jam.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lots of people are doing those nowadays.
Yeah. So it's her and I, and for ARPS Plus, there's a wonderful, I can't remember the name of the actual module, but it's a 2600 module that was later made by another company, not not Mo's Lab or any, but it's another company. It'll come to me later. So that was there. We had an Antinous sequencer, and it was wonderful. And she also created a piece for us, and we did an interview, and the interview is really fun. I can't wait to release it to the world. We've been having this ongoing sort of 3 or 4 year discussion about obscure albums that have art music on them. And if you check out the foundation page, she gave me Black Sabbath, a piece of Black Sabbath to play.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and once you hear it, there's no question that it's a 2600. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't unhear it. And of course, I had to go research it because the past few years have sort of forced me to be that fact checker person that, no fake news on my watch anyways. So indeed, it was, he had a 2600 on that album a lot. So
cool. Yeah.
So back to the symposium. Yeah, that's, I've been speaking a lot with Rupert Greenall from The Fix, and we've done some interviews both in person and through Zoom. I have a few others which I have to keep under wraps until they're confirmed and or finished. I also have some lost ARP tape footage of trainings and demos on the Odyssey back from those of you who saw the lost ARP tape episodes. I know we're going to probably talk about that later, but there's more footage of a lot of demos, college lectures and things like that. So for all of you who want to see the original demonstrators and performers and engineers that worked on the Odyssey and the 2600 demonstrating, that's really quite interesting. Wow. So yeah, kind of holding those close to the vest until.
So you mentioned this is about being online, but is this something that people will be able to attend? And if so,
the big if is, of course, the C word. I don't know what it's, but it looks like things are kind of calming. I don't even want to say it out loud, so let's see.
No, I get you. Yeah, I understand.
So we will hopefully have an in-person component, but everything will be accessible online. So and no one should feel like they are going to have to, jump on a plane unnecessarily. So.
Cool. And of course, the best way to keep on top of all of the developments and is to follow you on the foundation social media channels and the website. Yeah, absolutely.
So we have, of course, Facebook, which is quite active, Instagram, YouTube, the website. And the website, you can also subscribe to our newsletter, which I don't send out many. So you won't be barraged, I promise. I probably should send out more, if the truth be told. But yes, any important events we post there. Large events we also create, sort of that online structured Facebook event type thing, and we'll be doing this through Eventbrite most likely, something the way we have in the past couple.
Well, we'll definitely, as soon as we get that information, we shall share it amongst our audience. Is there a particular subject for the symposium this year? And if so, what is it and why?
It is the Odyssey. Let's see.
Cool. Oh, look at that. Oh, actually, I've got a bigger version of that. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yes. So 50 years ago this year, the Odyssey was launched and released into the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
50 years.
Yeah.
So, so what Odyssey specific things might we sort of expect to see or hear?
Well, we're getting a bunch of new content together, and new artists, as well as, of course, revisiting some of the more familiar artists. I am I've been trying to work with a couple of people on recreating a book. I think you can see it behind me. It's there's so many books. The pink one is called Learning Music with Synthesizers.
Oh, yes.
So that book was actually created for educational purposes in around a high school level.
Okay.
And using an Odyssey as the teaching tool. And it's really not just learning about using synthesizers, but it's learning about sound waves and how sound is really created, almost the anatomy of what a sound wave is, using synthesizers as an example.
Yeah.
And it was written by my father, David Friend, and Tom Pigott. And Tom Pigott, you may recall, was part of the last symposium of the 2600. And I've also interviewed him, and hopefully he'll also be able to be in person. I haven't confirmed that yet because he's really busy. But he was a major contributor to our educational publications and was one of the demonstrators that, especially with the films that you'll be seeing later. Yeah. And he's had an incredible lifetime of teaching, not just for ARP, but teaching sound and teaching other things as well. So we're really excited about that.
Cool.
The Odyssey.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And you've had some custom artwork. Let's bring this up on the screen here. This is the wonderful Ollie Frick.
Ollie Frick.
Who has done this. I need to bring this back into my control. Here we go. If you're not familiar with Ollie's work, you ought to be. It's really great stuff. I actually did a seminar in front of a wall of Ollie's interpretations of many great legendary synths. It's a really lovely technique that he has. And of course, here is the Odyssey with all of these kind of milestone moments of people using it on various albums, where they used it, how they used it. Tell us a little bit about how this all came about.
I loved his work. I found his book online, and we had a brief conversation initially, the email conversation, but when it came time to start thinking about some new merch, I immediately thought of him because I thought his work was just not only, it's an interesting mix of very technical and very accessible. There's something very human about the drawing. And it reminded me of a lot of the old ARP stuff. David Friend's wife, Margaret Shepard, created some really fun old graphics. You can probably see some in some of the posts that I've made of people using ARPs, but these very simple line impressions of people using simplified line synthesizers, and it reminded me of that. So it kind of felt familiar in a really good way.
Yeah.
And so we went back and forth a little bit and had some exchanges, and he asked me what I thought about the little color, slider caps, and I said yes. Oh yes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, and so
as we've discussed before, color was so important to your father in how you interacted with his instruments. Absolutely.
Ergonomics, human usability, this is something that was really important for him. So when he asked that, I said absolutely. Yeah.
Cool stuff. Well, Ollie's in the chat, so
great.
He's there, and he's saying how honoured he was to be asked to do that. I actually now I know he's in here, I need to apologise to Ollie, because Ollie came up to me at Gearfest and introduced himself just as I was about to get into an Uber, and I was like all of the I was trying to say goodbye to some people, and I got my son and I got the Uber, and then Ollie comes up and introduces himself, and I wasn't very forthcoming, and I want to apologise for that, and we should make up for it at Synthfest. So hopefully, Ollie, if you come along at Synthfest, I'll buy you a drink, and we can actually talk properly, and I won't have to kind of rush off. So thanks for bearing with. So this wonderful graphic, let's bring this back up onto the screen here. So is this going to be available in some form? Can people do something?
Yes, it is. We've already done some test printing. So 18 by 24 size giclée print. Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful, nice quality. Yeah, it looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's a shame. I don't know if you can blow up a little, or you can...
Yeah, whereabouts do you want me to zoom in on?
on the slider caps.
Yep,
of
yeah, let's do that.
course.
Here
Yeah,
we go.
yeah.
Can I do? Oh, actually, no, it's not going to let me do it. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
that.
It's just so subtle.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like you say, it has an element of simplicity and yet accuracy, and there's no straight lines, which is nice. It's there's this kind of obsession with everything being so rigid and that, and this is it has a natural feel to it, and it's
Human element. Yeah.
Human element,
human.
exactly, exactly, and that's.
But you know exactly what it
so
is when you
important.
look at it. It's
So I did have a brief discussion with him today about T-shirts. Ooh,
that would be nice.
Yeah, just
That would be nice.
yeah. So we're gonna. I shouldn't say we. He's gonna work on that, and I'm just going to be grateful. So.
Absolutely no. His work. I'm just trying to find the link to the book.
The book.
Yeah, because if you are, you must have a copy.
I do. It's up there. It's behind the Malcolm Cecil Tonto cup.
Oh, yeah.
I have a lot
as
of
one does.
right. I have a lot of interesting doodads that have seemed to made their way into my house.
Can't find it. Ollie, help us with a link. Stick a link in the chat. Oh no, you can't stick links in the chat because it's we'll find it later on. I'll bring it up. I should have had that prepared.
The book is called Synthesizer Evolution, and if you Google Synthesizer Evolution, I'm pretty positive that it'll come up.
And Ollie can't paste a link in the chat, but if he puts the URL in there, it can be copied and pasted to your browser.
That's right. I am.
Right.
I am there. I am here.
Old
Here we go.
fashioned. I'm
Here we go.
Old.
It's only 17 quid. I mean, come on, this is crazy cheap.
Brilliant.
For some
Velocity
Well,
Press.
isn't
There
it?
we go. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, let me just bring this onto the screen. Synthesizer Evolution. See how professional we are. There we go. From Velocity Press, 17 quid. Oh, go away, pop-ups. It's a lovely, lovely book. Paperback. There you go. Some great designs, some great pictures, and history. It's just a really nice piece. So there you go. Go and buy that now.
Buy it.
Or ask for
Worth
it for
17
Christmas or
quid,
something. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something for the stocking at Christmas. Maybe.
You should have a Christmas edition. And try to tell your loved ones what to get the geek in your life. What do they need.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
for the. Yeah, we should do like a pre-Christmas special of what
That's
to get
right.
synthesizer geeks for
Yeah.
Christmas. Because like
That's a great idea.
yeah,
Come up with
I mean,
a gift guide and have them. You all can send it to. We can all send it to our friends. And
the PSN Christmas gift guide. Somebody make a note of that.
I will.
'Cause, yeah, do that. That's a good idea. Great idea. And we'll give you all the credit for it as well. So, yeah. Because the thing is, my wife always comes to me at Christmas time and at my birthday, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. Because if I say, well, something synth related, she won't know what it is, where to get it, how to do it, what it means. And then, she invariably comes back to me and says, can you not just buy it yourself, then give it to me and I'll wrap it up and give it back to you? And it just kind of takes all of the excitement out of it. But yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah, cool. We'll do that. Brilliant. Right. Guys, any questions from you before I move on to the next thing?
I did have a question in the chat.
Go for it.
It is from I Sing the Body Electric, and it's Dina's bookshelves indicate a wonderful and admirable tendency to having more books than you have shelves for. What are some of her favourites? Not necessarily music books.
oh goodness, and this is only one of 3 bookshelves. It's sort of a malady that both sides of my family passed on to me. Well, actually, right behind me, you could see I was really into beat literature for a while. So there's Henry Miller there, and Anais Nin. I also love language, so I actually have bought things like Origins by Eric Partridge. If you're really into etymology.
Oh.
Yeah, really big geek. And then there's art books. I love biographies of artists and musicians, and especially during the during the time that my dad was sick and I was caring for my mom, I was driving back and forth to Boston a lot. And I wasn't able to actually read books because by the time I got anywhere, I was so exhausted that I passed out. But I did do a lot of books on tape. And one of the first I did was Pete Townsend's Autobiography, which he narrates. And I think I actually got that one right after I met him because I sort of wanted to kind of carry that glow for a while, you know, kind of, it was really, really, it was definitely one of those profound moments. And I just enjoyed it so much that I went and got Rogers afterwards, who also narrates it. So I've been looking for people that narrate their own. So that was sort of a fun, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's always a good thing when the author narrates their own audio book because it just makes it. Yeah.
I've just got the Thomas Dolby one on Audible.
Yes,
I haven't started it yet because I'm still on the Peter Hook New Order one. But as soon as I finish that, I'll be good. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Great book.
Yeah.
Another one I like is How Music Works by David Byrne, which is. I mean, David Byrne is a genius in his own right, but when he starts talking about how he sees music working, and it's just brilliant. It's really, really. Yeah, definitely get that one.
I would love to meet him. I had a cab war with him once. And anyone who's ever lived in New York City knows what I mean. Where you have a bunch of people trying to get a cab all at the same time. Yeah, he got it.
Well, what can you say? I'd let him have it. It's David Byrne. It's David Byrne. So before we move on to the next thing, Adamski, thank you ever so much. Great to see you. I haven't seen you around in a while, so it's always good to see you around in the chat rooms of the various shows online. Thank you ever so much for your donation. And also to Stephen McQuarrie, who about 5 minutes ago donated through the PayPal account. So thank you ever so much to you as well. Give you a shout out.
Hey, Steve.
There you go. So fantastic. Thank you ever so much for those donations. Now then, Dina, you contacted me a little while ago and asked me if I would help you out with a live stream, and I was beyond honoured to have done so, and I was probably the most boring thing on that show because it was such a fascinating thing. So for those that don't know, we'll show a clip in just a moment. For those that weren't aware, you, in clearing out some of your parents' belongings and things that were in storage, happened across a box of U-matic video cassettes. Tell us what you found.
It was crazy. It couldn't be more dramatic if you put it in a movie, because it was literally one of the last boxes at the bottom of a very, very full storage space. And I didn't even get it. It was last summer. My mom passed away a year after my dad, and and of course I was right in the middle of the beginning of the pandemic. So, everything got kind of thrown into a storage space while some stuff came here. And so we finally went back for the last load. And there was a box of these pneumatic tapes. I didn't even know what pneumatic tapes were. The only thing I knew is that I shouldn't, if I found a player, I should not try to play them. So that was, thank goodness. And they said things like ARP, Odyssey, and Les McCann. And I looked at the dates, and they were early 70s. And I said, oh, wow, this is something. It was just really deep, and I didn't know what to do with them, and I was afraid to send them anywhere. And as luck would have it, I was asking Mary from the foundation, Mary Locke, and she helped me look up a place. She started Googling, and found the best place on the East Coast to get old digital files of all sorts digitized. And the crazy thing is, it happened to be maybe half a mile from where I was, which was right next to the old ARP factory, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Again, you can't make this up. So I took one there and dropped it off, kept my fingers crossed, took the rest because, again, I was just so, these things are precious. I don't know, just waited. And what happened is they give you a file online, and then they give you a CD and a flash drive and all that, so you could get to see it online. And I remember it was almost, it really felt like a big deal. Actually, simultaneously, I'd also given them some Super 8 tape that I found of movies that my dad took. My dad was a very avid photographer, liked to play around with film and media and stuff like that. So I get back this video of an old television program. It was from the 70s. And it was a sort of a variety news magazine, like a Sunday morning show. Anyone who watches CBS in the States, goes on from different topics. And there it was. It was a 1974. Was it 74, 72 now? I'm even blanking out on when it was exactly. I think it was 1974 in the ARP factory in Newton. So there was two. There was Kenneth Street, which was mostly when it was Tonus, when it had this logo here, and then the second one on Needham Street, on the corner of Needham and Christina Street, and it was from there. And I saw my father as he was, younger than I am now, back then, and I just cried, actually. Just to see, the younger version of my dad, and it floods of memories came back. Just what we were all like then, and or what my memories said we were all like then. Because I think everything is a memory. You can't really count up. But there it is. You see blue meanies passing in the background.
Yeah.
You see, people working on, on the lines, just soldering away. And
let's have a look at a clip from one of these things. So this is one of the first clips that you showed on the live stream. Let's have a look at this here.
1974, yeah.
It's a very general instrument. A synthesizer is to a musician what a palette of paints is to an artist. It gives him all the basic building blocks from which to build his sounds.
An orchestra at your fingertips, the new wave of music, where your imagination sets the limits. Tonight on 5 at Large.
So there's a whole bunch of this stuff, and I was going to try and find. There's your father. There we go.
Musicians who have only time to learn one technique or two techniques to produce the sounds that would take them many creative lifetimes to learn.
The synthesizer is definitely a creative tool, probably the most varied instrument any musician could hope for. But if you expected elves or descendants of Antonio Stradivari to be putting them together, take a look. All those beautiful sounds come from a bunch of printed circuits and several miles of wire. It's a little startling to see music going the way of the American automobile, and doubtless it won't be long before ARP has to recall synthesizers because of a faulty D sharp. But it's the best way to get the job done.
Synthesizers are...
But yeah, I mean, it's just a fascinating insight into how synthesizers were made, but also the fact that it's got these legendary figures. Of course, your father being the biggest of them all, but David Friend and all the rest of these that ARP legendary team, and they're all there. They were all there in a box of tapes. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And there's one more. I'm bringing it next week.
Wow. Can you tell us?
I don't know what's on it. I have no idea. Yeah, one more that I'm going to get digitized. So
Wow.
That's the last one.
So how much actual footage was there in total, maybe in terms of hours? Or
oh gosh, not that. I mean, this piece was about 10 minutes. I don't think any of them were more than 10 minutes long.
Still though.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. That's amazing. What a find.
It was
And
great.
somebody pointed out Umatic tapes. I'm not really surprised that you guys were able to get the footage off of them because they were one of the more reliable formats.
Oh yeah.
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 You know, there's a joke in there, but I'm not going to tell it now.
But yeah, I mean, there was some of the footage that was there featured some amazing fashions. So I mean, look at that. That's a suit and a half with the big wide collars and the silver waist jackets and
It's Mike Brigida. Yep.
yeah.
Oh my God. I have that poster. Look at that.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
That's
some just
is that a quadra? That's a quadra. Is that a quadra? I don't know if that's a
it
quadra.
looks quite deep for a quadra, doesn't it? That's
Oh, it's not. It's an original Odyssey. Okay.
look at that. But yeah, I mean, some. Where was this? Where was this? Was this in the factory? Did the factory have like a studio?
this was the one in Lexington, and
Okay.
yeah, it had a studio. It had a piano in the front. It was a big complex. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Just trying to find. There was this wonderful clip where there was just a stack of ARP synths, just like in the middle of the walkway between desks where people were soldering stuff. And you imagine what those were worth or would be worth nowadays. And there they were, just stacked up in the middle of the floor, as one does at a factory in 1974. It was crazy. But no, some amazing stuff. And of course, you can watch that show over on the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation YouTube channel. And it was a real pleasure to be asked to come and talk about that with you as it was going out. It was fantastic.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to have you help me. It was wonderful.
Guys, any questions?
Nothing else has come in from the chat yet.
How about from yourselves?
Well, I have a question.
Go for it.
Is anybody ever going to do like a book about this stuff?
Which stuff are you talking about?
Oh, ARP synths and the revivals by Korg, and maybe some instructional examples and some. Oh my gosh! Look at that.
Subtle as a breeze block.
That was
what?
uncanny, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah. I still haven't got my copy yet, so this is the first time I'm actually seeing one.
It's lovely. Yeah, let me find a nice spread for you. So this was. It's got that little patch cord in the front. How tasty! Yeah. No, these books are lovely, and this is a funny story. Let me just show you one.
Switch back.
There we go. Stay there. We go.
Yep.
Oh, is it?
Look at
Blue
this
meanies, gray meanie.
Now the blue meanie, we had quite a time getting a decent picture of that. Phil Scirocco had some pictures online. I don't think at the time I was able to reach him for a better one. I didn't even know if he had one, and then someone in the UK connected me with someone else. And
then there was the cover of that Italian music magazine.
Oh, yes.
That had the beautiful young lady posing with the blue meanie with the, on a pier in some Italian city with water behind her, which is, of course, the perfect place you want to have a semi-modular synthesizer is, on a pier.
Water
right next.
synths? What could go wrong?
Oh yeah, exactly. But it was fun gathering those things together. It really was, and debunking myths.
So come on, Mike, tell us a little bit about this this book and what's involved and what you get with it, because it's not just a book, is it?
Well, right now there is that bundle, which is the book, which is bundled with the NTS2. And they've been advertising it. This was something Kim helped design, that little box. Kim knew what features it should have. And he went back and forth with the engineering team at Korg and got a lot of cool stuff in there that wasn't originally planned for it. The one thing that we could not convince them of was calling it an oscilloscope was a really bad idea. Because you say oscilloscope, and unless somebody's a modular freak, their eyes are going to glaze over. But this thing is so unbelievably useful. It is, in fact, a two-dimensional color oscilloscope that can handle up to 4 signals. But it's also, you can do fast Fourier transforms with it. And the best thing of all is it's got a bunch of oscillators built into it. So you can actually use it as an extra sound source. You can actually patch it into other synthesizers, if you want another oscillator. Very, very cool little device, very easy to use. You build it yourself. It's not very expensive. They're putting them out as a bundle with these books. The books are done. I don't know where the progress is on the NTS2s yet. My guess is that they're dealing with a chip shortage. But it will be out. It will be available. People who've done the pre-orders will get them, hopefully soon. And beyond that, I wish I knew enough to say.
Yeah.
Right now, that's sort of where we are on this, and I'm just sort of looking ahead to sort of see what comes next myself, because I'd love to have a copy. And by the way, the copy Dina has did not come with the NTS2. People who contributed to the book, people who provided us with material or interviews or whatever, were sent copies without the electronics, and so that's why she has one.
But is the NTS2 going to be in kit form like the NTS1?
Yes. Yeah. It's one of these very simple kits, doesn't require soldering. It's a couple circuit boards and mounting a few pieces and putting the case together.
Yeah, I mean, I had great fun. That was one thing that I did ask my wife to get me for Christmas one year.
But the NTS1?
Yeah.
Oh, they are a blast. There's several blasts. They may be an entire demolition site.
No, it's I tend to use it more as an effects box than a synthesizer, but it's a pretty handy little synth as well.
Yep. It's the bundle. We're waiting. We're waiting for it to become available. And if you go to the website, Bukes.com, and click on Patch and Tweak with Korg, they talk about the NewTech kit, designed in cooperation with author Kim Bjorn. Pocket-sized, easy to assemble, 4-input color oscilloscope, tuner, spectrum analyzer, and a dual waveform generator to give any synth rig an extra pair of oscillators or LFOs. Hoo-ha! And you get a book to read while you're putting it together.
Indeed, and if it's like any of the other Bukes books, it's going to be an excellent book as well. Dina, what was your involvement with this then?
I was interviewed, and that was fun. I helped get the final Blue Meanie picture.
You helped with a lot of things, Dina. You really did. You the fact that we were able to talk to David Mash and David Friend, that's at least partly down to you. She didn't write the book, but her contributions to it should not be understated.
Thank you. Thank you. We did have a stop the presses moment, which was kind of fun.
Oh, tell them about it.
So there, for many years, there's a picture going around the internet of Phil Dodds, but it wasn't really Phil Dodds. There's a picture on Getty Images, and
yep, misattributed, and it's offered as part of a for sale stock photo library.
But yeah, it was a Getty image, and it was, the attribution has been there for a long time, and I tried to reach out to them and they didn't answer me. This is even before. So I looked at the galleys. It was one of those, Dina, can you look at the galleys? It's going to go to press like tomorrow kind of thing. And I saw it and I said, oh my goodness, that's not Phil Dodds. That's Dave Spencer. And I tried to reach people, and I actually ended up literally calling calling Kim at some ungodly hour in Denmark. Yeah, and said, "No, you can't. This is wrong." So he was able to get another photo.
I think we actually used a photo from Close Encounters.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Too. I think he did as well.
Yeah, he actually was on the set of Close Encounters doing that da 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 on the ARP 2500. Yep. And he was just sort of showing them, how to do these things. And I guess Steven Spielberg liked the look of him, and said, "Stick around when we film this. We're gonna have you as the player, and so you can actually see him in the movie. He got his Screen Actors Guild card and everything."
It's true. Yeah, he did quite well with that. It was a great moment for him, though ARP really needed him. I remember hearing that. Well, when is he coming back? There was a lot of interesting dinner table talk, and that was one of. So when's Phil? And the other is I don't think those 2500s ever made it back home.
No,
so
they got
anyone has Steven
trashed.
Spielberg's number.
Didn't they get destroyed because of all the oils in the stuff, the smoke and special effects? That's the story I've heard.
That's one of the stories. There's a lot of, what do you call them, urban myths about those particular synthesizers. Even down to someone putting pictures online saying, "Oh no, these are the original."
Oh, Dina, there is one program that's worth mentioning. I don't know how much of it we got in the book. I don't remember, but I think the audience should hear about the ARPS for All program.
Yes, thank you. The ARPS for All program. And actually, we're going to be doing we're going to be visiting the New England Synth Festival next week. So if anyone is in the Boston area, come to the Museum of Science. In the Museum of Science, look at that. I love how that magic. So, yes, New England Synthfest. So we've had a table there, ARPS for All. The last two shows, they've had the second Thursday of each summer month. And they have performances in the planetarium. And there's a lot of different performers and booths. There's a Synth Cube who we've connected with recently. I'm very excited about future collaborations. Synth Cube. They carry TTSH and modules. You probably all know about Synth Cube, right? Yeah. So they are opening up a brick and mortar location.
Oh.
Yeah. So, which is very exciting. And Bill T. Miller, if he's in the audience, I thought I saw him earlier.
Yes, I think I saw
he's
him.
been there, and he's going to be performing. And Bill and I go way back.
Ow! I just smacked. Never mind. Yeah, it's a quickie for you. Let me see if I can pop this up to the camera so you can see it. There you go.
Oh, my precious.
And
lovely.
I've even been told that used to be the Close Encounters one, which is a 25 with 3 wings.
Wow.
But I saw the film and it's a 25 with 2 wings. So it's not that one then, is it?
No, quite. Awesome. So yes, you were saying.
Oh. Yes, New England Synth Fest. So
Yes.
I the first one I didn't go to because I was trying to avoid COVID because I was getting married and I didn't want to bring it to the wedding. And then the second one I didn't go to because I caught COVID and what and now I'm hoping to ride on that temporary immunity, and be there next week. I'm really looking forward to it. Asha Tamarisa, who is on the 2500 panel, wonderful synth artist, she's going to be performing. So I'm very excited. I'm excited to see Bill Miller. Oh, so I was talking about Bill Miller, right? So, I was going to say Bill and I met in my Rebel Against Synthesizer days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was in a band that he was the engineer, and for a recording that I did with a band back in the mid 80s,
Nice.
late 80s actually.
And of course, we've spoken about this before, but one of the big things that the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation is kind of wanting to push is ARPS for all.
Right.
So,
thank you for bringing me back. I was on that tangent.
It's fine, because when we spoke recently, and you were saying that you've got some sort of, there's been some developments in that. So tell us a bit more about the whole ARPS for all thing.
ARPS for all was really developed with the idea of trying to make the vintage instruments accessible. And this came really directly about because I saw how inaccessible they are to most people. Until you've reached a certain, age or level of in your particular field, let's say, to be able to, obtain and use and maintain, which is a huge part of it, vintage synthesizers is not available. I mean, whether you don't have space because you live in an apartment or you're just starting out, or, let's see, the last time I saw a price, $2,600 for $90,000. It's so. Yeah. The idea was to create a space where people could come in and use them and experience them and develop ideas and to create recordings and explore and learn more about synthesis at little to no cost. Right now, it's being mainly contained in a lovely space, which is in Boston. It's called TRC, or the Record Co., as in company. It's right down the street from Berkeley, so it's off Mass Ave, and it's a huge complex, which was actually renovated during the beginning of the pandemic. They were actually going to renovate anyway, but when that happened, they actually were blessed with the ability to retrofit their environment to work with the potential of an ongoing pandemic. For instance, each of the rooms has their own air, universe, so you don't have to worry about someone breathing in the next room, and giving you COVID or whatever. And we have a nice collection there. I think if you pull the website back up, you can see the majority of it, but we're going to get some new stuff in very soon, actually, which is great. So right now we have a vintage 2600, which was signed by my father. It was owned by David Nash. And he believe he got it in 1970, and he took it on tour with him everywhere. He toured with the Brubecks. He also worked with Joe Zawinul at Berkeley. And then there's an axe, which was donated by Mike Hunter. There she is. That's a cute story, too. I'm sure you've probably all heard this before, but Mike Hunter, Rob Dorschel, in conjunction with a group of people, were performing a few blocks away from my house. This is in 2019. And somebody called, I didn't know them at the time. And somebody called me up and said, hey, there's a synthesizer concert going on a few blocks from your house. Said,
they're awesome. They're awesome people too.
Yeah, they're really awesome people.
You get me and Robert in the same room, and basically we're Abbott and Costello.
It was amazing because now, Mike Hunter has been, he's been over several times, and, the whole MEF crew, and Rob and did some work with Alex in filming the documentary and filming me there. And so they all later on became friends, and he brought over an axe. So he said, yeah, I got 3. Nice. I'll give you one.
Yeah.
So
that's very Mike. That is very, very Mike. He's so extraordinarily generous with his time and resources.
That's one of the amazing things about this project, especially the ARPS for All project, is the amazing generosity that has been shown by the synth community. The Quadra, for instance.
That's the one that came from Uncle Mal.
Yeah, Malcolm. Yeah, and he gave it to us, which was. A lot of tears of joy have been cried over this project, I have to tell you. And he bought it originally, and he played it and used it for many, many years.
One owner, and that's why it wasn't beat to hell. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I mentioned the Quadra in Synth Gems 1. It's an extraordinary instrument, but the build quality was, shall we say, not of the best. And finding ones that are in as good a shape as the one that Malcolm gave to ARPS for All is very, very rare. Kent can probably confirm this.
Yeah, it is. You'd see them about 1 in 40 are pretty.
Wow.
And you know that, when they go out the door, they're not going to come back 6 minutes later. which the others have done.
Oh yeah, they
do.
The machine sounded incredible. It was a wonderful thing, but the industrial design, let's just say it wasn't up to scratch, and let's leave it at that. It's still one of my favorite synths. It was one of the first 3 that I insisted go into Synth Gems. So
yeah, it's a beauty. It's a beaut. It's such a lush sound. It's amazing. Ali Cassidy from Synthetic Dreamscapes on West Coast has been really generous as well. We got an Omni, and we're going to be getting several vintage Odysseys, one next week and one, I'm not sure when the next one's coming, but hopefully soon, and we'll have some documentation with that and some interesting surprises around that. So
simply amazing.
Yeah, so it's been a real journey. It's like a scavenger hunt, where can we find these? How can we get them? And of course, I will make a plea to the audience, and drum roll and eye roll right now, I'm sure. Where is that 2,500 who's holding out on me?
Yeah. Indeed. Well, we've got a guest coming on in a few weeks' time. I think I mentioned this to you. Ben Edwards, who has a 2,500, one that passed through Kent's very hands, coming up, and Ben has his channel where he's got this. It's kind of like a monthly show called the Meme Tune Show. And I think it was episode 1 or 2, where he does like a 20-minute patching session on a 2,500. And I've never had the pleasure of being in the presence of one of these things. So I know little.
I learned on one, Rob.
So I have very little knowledge or experience of this, and it was fascinating.
Oh yeah, they're amazing instruments. Yeah. I actually have recordings. I have my very earliest solo work was done on a 2,500. Oh. I was at the University of Pittsburgh Music Department, and check this out. They had a fully kitted out Buchla 100 series and an ARP 2,500 next to each other, and then they had this enormous hand-built box so that the two could talk to each other, because they had completely different voltage scaling and triggers. So you would have these two massive machines plugged into this box, mounted on the wall with just jacks all over it, labeled in masking tape. Wow. But God, I love that 2,500, aside from the fact that it crosstalked like a fiend. Anyway.
But yes, it's a fascinating. So Ben's coming on in a few weeks' time, but I think that was one of those things you have to prize out of his cold dead hands. Don't want to give anybody any ideas, but if anyone has a spare 2,500 sitting in the back of their studio, then just we'll have Dina's people call your people, and
that's it.
We'll put you in touch.
Well, I found a couple of Matrix modules, didn't I, last week out in the shed?
Oh yes, yeah.
Brand new, never been used.
Wow.
Don't know where they've come from. I have no idea. But you go, right, just need the rest of it now.
Yeah. Build module by module.
Yeah.
Dina, did you see on? I've just been reminded of this. I'm going to put it up before I forget, because that's my age is something that happens quite regularly. There was one of these on eBay. The 16-voice electric piano prototype. Let me just get a picture of that. Did you see that at all?
I did not see that, but someone else had told me about it. We are going to be getting a non-prototype that's the other one that's coming to ARPS for All, actually, is a 16-voice that's not a prototype.
Nice. Yeah,
actually, no, I didn't see it on eBay, but I do know about it. I did speak to Minnie about it. That's right.
Yeah, it looks in a fairly sorry condition. But what was not surprising, I suppose, was the asking price of just a cool $149,000 $999.99 because
make
the
an offer,
99
though.
cents at that price.
Yeah, you can make.
Oh
an offer.
yeah, it's a bargain.
That's
You
what
know,
it costs
save
to
a-
restore
save a
it.
penny.
Indeed. No, apparently they are flexible on the price according to this. How flexible, I don't know. But yeah, if you want an ARP prototype 16 voice EP,
I don't think they're flexible enough for me to own it.
no,
Yeah.
or ship it.
Well, one thing about these prototypes, there was a few prototypes that are going to be coming to us. We're really just looking for a second location for ARPS for All, which would be a very different setup than the one we have now. And I'm speaking to some people in New York about the second location. And this would be geared more towards research and or what I would say is sort of a museum quality, a prototype, something that's that rare and that's not necessarily playable, because the ARPS for All project really is about playing. And we're coming up with the parameters for our first artist in residency, which anybody can actually...
Sorry, I have to say, Wagyu just posted, I would go to $149,999, but that 99 cents is a stretch too far. And yeah, my guess is that if it's a prototype, you probably don't even want to turn it on.
Right.
No.
That's for research or for, posterity. And in the case that I'm speaking of, it would be in a very controlled environment and not rented. When I say rented out, you go into the ARPS for All studio and you say, I'd like to, take an Odyssey and an Explorer for 5 hours or whatever, and rent that space, and it would go in there, and they'd check out, make sure, see what the condition is, give it to you, you do what your thing is, they come back, and check it back in, but it stays within the complex itself. In this case, this would be really more for a special exhibit, a special event, and or research. So we have a prototype soloist and a prototype avatar that's sort of waiting in the wings.
Nice.
No pun intended for.
Oh, a prototype soloist. That must have been cool.
Yeah.
They were cool little instruments. You could keep them working.
Ever had many of those, Kent? Sorry.
Yeah, funny enough, I just done one for a museum.
Oh wow.
When was it? A couple of months ago now. Yeah. They wanted it sort of like as though it just come out of the factory when it's super fresh.
Yeah.
And we did the works on it.
Are you able to say what museum it is, or is this
I could if I could remember.
It's like we're all under these permanent,
Yeah, I'm still suffering from my
NDAs.
COVID fog. No, Fiona would know. You can ask her. She'd go, oh, it's blah, 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 or whatever, But, yeah, strange enough, actually, unless you might be aware already, but in terms of ARPs being used on albums, that ARP 2500 that I did for Hands is apparently all over Dunkirk.
Oh yeah,
Well, so he told me.
How's that happened?
What?
What was that, Ben?
I thought you meant it ended up like the Close Encounters machine. It was like broke up all over Dunkirk. You mean on the soundtrack?
No,
No.
They didn't do the landings in it or anything. No.
Yeah.
Right. I got you.
Yeah,
now.
it was visible on the pier next to the ship that was sinking.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
They were dropping bombs from it. Yeah. It was. Yeah. So it apparently it's on that.
Cool.
Wow.
Very nice.
In various places.
Have we had any questions come in from the chat, Ben?
There is one from Synth Addict here, and it said, Did Dina's dad ever work with the folks that were doing EEG controller experiments and analog synths? Fun stuff.
I don't believe so.
I do know that at least one recording exists there was a Canadian prog rock trio called FM, which is one of the great unknown secrets of prog rock. They were an amazing, amazing band. And they did an album which was called Direct to Disc, where they actually cut 2 20-minute sides directly to vinyl in the studio. And the drummer actually had a brainwave setup attached to an ARP 2600. And they used that for sound effects here and there. So it existed, but I don't think Alan Pearlman had anything to do with the design of that brainwave thing. I think it was a third party stuff that somebody had kludged together.
Yeah, no, he didn't have any. He was interested. There was other scientific interests that he had, but brainwaves, not to my knowledge. No.
One of which was climate change, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, big time. I think he'd be quite startled to see that it's happening this quickly, but not. Yeah. I don't know when he became preoccupied with it. I think when Al Gore's movie and book came out.
Oh yeah.
Inconvenient Truth.
Absolutely, yeah. He bought me a copy. He bought everyone that he that he thought would listen to copy. He used to do that. He bought me a lot of books like that, which is wonderful. And he became very, very concerned, and I wouldn't say obsessed, but it was foremost on his mind, and is really where he wanted to put a lot of his energy. And so in the early 2000s, he started the idea of having a think tank of alternative energy sources. He was very into wind technology, and even had me start to set up a website for him, and had a few of his close friends that he kept in regular touch with. A lot of the ARP folk sort of his circle that he would discuss some of these ideas with. Cool. So yeah. I think it's part of the futurist. He was a futurist. He was very, very much into science fiction, and I'm not quite sure which came first, being into science fiction or the fact that he worked for NASA. He took me to see a lot of science fiction movies. I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey in the theater.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did I, in Cinerama.
And he wrote a science fiction novel. This is something. I think it's a next winter project. I have to do a little bit of editing and digitize it, but he wrote a very interesting, I would say a novelette or short novel, sort of a doomsday, but with a positive outcome.
Yeah.
Was there any synthesizers in it? Or?
No.
Oh, bummer.
No.
You'll have to leave that to the score.
Yes.
Yeah. The score would have to be all
out. You'd have to score it.
Were there any more questions, Ben?
Let me have a look.
Yeah, there is one. I Sing the Body Electric asks, yep, there you go. What are Dina's favorite musical works involving ARPs and or in general?
Oh, gosh.
Come on, you told me a couple. I
have a very, very, I would say, eclectic taste in music, and that's true. And it's really been amalgamated over a lifetime of both hearing music in the house, I went through a time rebelling against synthesizer music, and that's when I was in my tube amp and Gibson hollow body phase. And so I still love old punk, and so I went through a punk stage. I had big red hair and army boots and the whole bit. Yeah.
Probably awesome stuff.
And I still love that. If I'm in the right mood, that's it really has to do with mood. So for instance, if I want to relax before I go to bed, I like to listen to some Lisa Belladonna. Love her work. Don Slipian, so ambient music and electronic music of different kinds really put me into a good place. And the other side of that is, I don't know if you all know, but Lisa really loves classical, and we have a lot of conversations about Bach and classical music. And I was brought up playing classical, hearing classical. My dad played Chopin all the time, and there's a special place in my heart for that too. So you're not going to be able to get a singular answer for me as far as ARP 2600 or ARPs in general. I will always love the work that Pete Townsend and the Who did. I feel like it's almost in my DNA. That was the first popular music that I heard, knowing that was my father's instruments playing, and then I just loved them because I loved them. So later on, when my taste became more expanded, I love Herbie Hancock stuff. Recently been listening to some Alphonse Mouzon. Really kind of digging this funk jazz stuff that he put in a lot of ARP stuff there. I had no idea, and that's surprising. I listened to a lot of new wave earlier, and it's sort of been resurrected in my amalgamating lists and stuff for the foundation. So revisiting a lot of the music that I would dance to in clubs, for instance. Yeah. So New Order, Fix,
Ultravox,
absolutely,
with Billy Currie on ARP Odyssey. In my opinion, the best ARP Odyssey soloist ever.
Yes, I agree.
Because it takes a lot to do really, really lyrical, melodic, sort of flowing stuff with the Odyssey, because it doesn't have a pitch bender, or it didn't until PPC came along, which was basically the equivalent of having no pitch bend control at all. So he would do stuff by riding the vibrato and riding the portamento. And so he gets these amazing sounds where he brings in the vibrato just enough, and then he switches back and forth between between portamento and no portamento to emphasize certain lines. I mean, it's genius. It's an education in how to play an Odyssey to watch one of his solos. If you get a chance, the concert movie they made, Monument, the soundtrack, or Monument, has some shots of him doing Odyssey solos that are they're an education.
I'll definitely check them out. Some of the other music that is music that I always liked, and I never really thought of as art music until, again, I did a deeper dive and did some research, like David Bowie. I've always loved David Bowie. Love. And Prince. Just blew my mind. This music that I just loved, just because this was my taste at the time, or still is, and so the sort of far-reaching tentacles of influence that his instruments have still blows my mind every single day. There'll always be something new, and the music that I hear and hearing more and more about, that has ARP. It's all pervasive. It's amazing, and it's an honor to be a part of that. It really is. So Weather Report, I mean, I could go on. So, but all of this is music that I do listen to. I love listening to music. It's an important part of my daily life.
There's a question in the chat. I'm not going to try and pronounce that, whether it's quarter dunk or I don't know. Anyway, I apologize if I can't pronounce the name, but the question is, what was your first synthesizer and when did you get it? But you were like living in a house where there were synthesizers in the basement, but they weren't yours. What was your first one that you got hold of? Was it an ARP or was it something else?
It's hard to say, because you're right. I mean, the one that I played around with at home, my father had a pro soloist at home, and I would use that a lot. As far as synthesizer, I didn't play synthesizers in bands.
Yeah, during your rebel phase, you brought home a mini Moog.
No, I was rebelling against the whole bit.
I know.
Yeah.
What were you playing then in the band?
Bass.
Oh, yeah. Bass.
Okay, I will. There is a confession. I played a Roland of undetermined model number. It was an electric piano, not a synthesizer, in a band. I played for about a year.
Cool.
And I look at the pictures, and you all could probably tell me what. It's on the big front of my Facebook page, over to the left where they have that little feature picture. So if you all can figure out what it is, you'd be helping me out. But it wasn't synthesizer. It wasn't a synthesizer per se. So honestly, as far as I don't really feel like I own any synthesizers. All of these really belong to the foundation. The Korg stuff that I have. I have my father's Explorer, and I have my father's Pro Soloist, which is the same one that I played when I was a kid, and I had it refurbished by Alison Stout over in Philly, and she did a wonderful job, and it plays like a dream. So that's about the only synthesizer I think that I actually own myself. all of these are interchangeable with the foundation. They're made to bring to events. They're made for if someone was to come and visit, and we've had several people do this already. Rupert Greenall, Cynthia, DJ Cherish the Love came and stayed and created some music here. So the idea is down at the studios downstairs, we have a spare room and a studio, and people can come and do some work here.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's a question here from Homegrown. Is saying, is there going to be any ARP merchandise available at Synthfest? Not sure which Synthfest he's referring to, but can you give us a merch update?
Sure. Well, if it's the New England Synthfest, I'm going to have stickers. Oh, give me. Want to flash to the other screen for a minute? I'll get.
Sure. We'll let's talk amongst ourselves. Because obviously there's the New England Synthfest, and there's Synthfest UK, which is happening October 7th, where I'll be there amongst lots of other people. I'm sure.
Yes.
Are you coming, Ben? Or you're gigging, aren't you? Oh, you are.
No, I don't have a gig as yet. So
don't book anything then.
Yeah, hopefully keep that free.
The only problem with that is that because it's on the Saturday, I'll be there on the Friday, and I don't know what we're going to do. We might have to do, if you can get up for the Friday, maybe we can do a show from Synthfest.
From there, yeah.
On the Friday, because as everybody's loading in, that's quite a fun thing, because normally Phil Oakey turns up on the Friday and just speaks to everyone as they're loading in, so he doesn't have to, mix with the hoi polloi, I guess. That would be fun. We could grab him. That'd be cool. Right, Dina, what have you got?
All right, so we got a whole bunch. These are stickers we had a few years ago, but I got these really fun psychedelic Odyssey stickers.
Very nice.
Yes. We're going to have the Ollie Frick posters.
Nice.
We're also going to have, do you have those images, Robbie, that I sent you?
Yes, I do.
So there's two more posters. One is Miyoko Fujino's posters.
And then there's that one.
And then this one, yes. So try to get into that 70s vibe. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we're going to have a bunch of posters. Now, as far as New England Synthfest, at this point, we'll have a couple of posters for sale, and we'll have stickers for sale, and we'll have buttons for free. And we will also, at the Synthfest in Sheffield, probably not be able to take so much. What I'm thinking of doing is maybe joining forces with someone over there to, rather than ship a lot of stuff. I think that's going to be more of a meet and greet and try to see all of you together. But there's a lot of merch that we have that I work with other people on. So like Michelle, we sell the cards that Dave Spear and Chris McLeod.
Oh yes, the synth.
The Trumps,
top Trumps, yes.
Yeah. We're really gonna have to the name anyway, so we have to stop that. And T-shirts as I can carry. So I'll have T-shirts. We have the Joe Zawinul T-shirts. We have the classic, the ARP classic. Yeah.
Nice.
And as I said, we're working on an Odyssey shirt.
Nice.
Yeah.
And all of this is available on the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation.org website.
Yes.
And you ship globally?
We ship globally, yes.
That's something we need to do. We need to fix that.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah, well,
well, somebody actually suggested a potential way of us being able to produce merchandise because we're not in that game. We don't have, we at the moment rely on a really generous guy who does all of Ben's merch for his band, and he very kindly said, "Hey, I'll do yours as well," and the profit that we make from that goes back into the channel.
Right.
And they're really good things. But unfortunately, getting it over to the United States or anywhere outside of the UK it's
very costly.
Yeah, very costly.
I bought I bought an ARP pillow from this wonderful artist, an Odyssey pillow from this artist in Germany, and the shipping was more than the object itself. Right.
Well, Michael Whalen bought one of our shirts, and bless him, he paid the full postage, and it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy, the cost.
It's a matter of wanting nice quality. For instance, all of our T-shirts are hand silk screened by a local artist. Mm-hmm. If you want to get digital printing, and you could probably find a distributor over on the other side of the ocean or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Cool stuff. Any other questions coming in at all, guys?
We've got this one here from Lady Aptitude. Have you ever reached out to early 70s art rep Roger Powell to participate in any of these events?
I have tried to reach him, and I've not had much luck. He's one of the first people I did try to reach out to, yeah. And I do hope to be able to find him. He was, I remember him very well coming over to the house. He was a real important part of the early ARP Instruments experience. He was actually there when it was Tonus. He was there from the very beginning. Yeah. So if anyone knows how to get in touch with him.
Again, get in touch. We'll put our people in touch with Dina's people and get that across there. There was another...
That's right. I'll get my secretary to reach.
Yeah.
We'll do lunch.
Yeah, indeed. There was another question. We spoke about the Close Encounters 2500, which is a very popular topic, and we spoke about whether what was the fate of that machine. But what was your father? Because that machine never came back to ARP, did it?
Back. No.
So what was your father's kind of thoughts on that?
My father, I have to say, he was a pretty calm guy. He was pretty stoic about stuff, and he felt that. To my recollection, and I'm sure that people that were there could maybe correct me, but I don't recall him being as upset about that as was about, just sort of the logistics. It took a long time to get Phil back. Phil was really he was more important, I think, at the time, and of course, even though they were quite expensive for a synthesizer at the time, they didn't have the same sense of
this is
of
valuable
wonder. Yeah. At the time there could have been more made, and there probably were a few more made, because even though they were originally developed early on, they made a few here and there for the duration of the existence of the company. So he was not someone to anger easily or to litigious. Nothing. He was. Yeah,
because it wasn't as if in Close Encounters that it was like a form of product placement. There was nothing. It was. I'm sure there's a credit in the titles at the end. Thanks to ARP Instruments, or something. I'm pretty sure there's something.
I think there is, yeah.
Oh, we need to check that out.
But it's not as if having a 2500 on screen in that film at that time would be considered product placement as we do nowadays, where companies are deliberately putting their products with the logo facing towards the camera, etc., etc. So it wasn't as if your father and the company got any real kind of benefit from that. It's just kind of one of those folklore things, really, more than anything.
You know, I'm not quite sure about that. I actually went to see the movie with my family again, and we went for the sole purpose of seeing it with Phil in the movie theater. You know, so the whole thing is like, there it is.
Yeah,
there he is. You know, there's the guy who eats dinner with us sometimes. Yeah, so that was pretty amazing, actually.
It's a cool moment. Somebody put it on the screen earlier, but Lady Aptitude has a friend who used to work with Roger, so yeah, you never know. It might lead on to something.
You know, this all of our connections have led to helping mutual benefits. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, hopefully that will come to something, and we'll pass that on. Guys, have you got anything you want to ask Dina or talk about? We've got about 15 minutes or so to go. Speak now, forever hold your peace.
I was just trying to find out whether ARP was actually credited on Close Encounters.
It was not, I don't believe.
Right. Oh, but I came across
maybe it was done later on. I don't know.
I came across an auction. Close Encounters of the Third Kind synthesizer prop file. I don't know what it is. Just can't see. I'm reading it now. Sorry.
Yeah, doesn't make for very interesting. You know.
No. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll come back when I learn anything.
Isn't there a Yamaha SY2 in the film as well?
Is there? Oh, I'm going to have to go and watch the film again.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure also that the soundtrack was done with other synthesizers as well. So, you know, I don't think it was only 2500 in there.
Yeah, because what was it a 2500 that did the famous riff in Close Encounters?
Yes,
it was. Yeah, it definitely was that. Because the other thing that I always wanted to know was that the keyboard that played itself, that was an effect, wasn't it? That was a special. That didn't exist.
There were no player piano keyboards.
No, that wasn't a Disclavier or something. I was trying to explain one of those to my son the other day.
It might actually have been a player piano, because the Disclavier didn't exist at that time.
Yeah.
So it may very well have been a made-up player piano where they were actually running a piano roll.
Yeah.
Or the Muppet team with wires.
Just some guy underneath going like this, all these things. So, Kent, you're sat there with a 2600 behind you.
Yeah.
Which we heard earlier on. Tell us a little bit about this machine and what you're doing to it, or have had done to it, or going to be doing to it.
Oh, great.
On the spot.
It's owned by somebody who I can't tell you who they are. Who plays it in a band whom I can't tell you who they are. What I can tell you is it's broke. It's got a problem with its envelope generator module. I understand it's a 1971 ARP with the 4017 VCOs. Or the 40. Do you know what? Older VCOs. Not so stable, older VCOs. Yeah, so it's it's a nice little puppy.
Yeah.
But I see hundreds of them.
Really?
They're such a prolific instrument.
Yeah.
They really are prolific. It's a great many. But I always have ARPs here. Always. Not because they're always breaking down, it's because people love them enough that they want to keep them going.
I suppose they're getting used as well, aren't they? The more active they are, the more likely they are to break down.
There's less people using them as collector's pieces, but actually using them grassroots level.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe quadras, but most of the parts are still available in one form or another. Not new, obviously, but generally you can get the bits and pieces where various machines are getting broken up. So, but there's always I've got a chroma here at the moment, but it's an actual ARP chroma, not a
Rhodes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Although it's absolutely identical in every single conceivable way.
Hey, Kent,
Yeah.
is there such a thing? Because remember, we talked about the chroma in the book, and I did a lot of research, and I was told that the only ARP chromas were Rhodes chromas that had an ARP sticker put on the front.
Oh, this had a metal ARP badge on the back. The one I worked on.
Huh.
And
And
it
was it in a Rhodes case? Or was it actually the standard wooden cabinet?
It was a wooden cabinet. Yeah.
Okay. The only actual ARP chroma was in a Rhodes case. It was a prototype. So I don't know about an ARP plate on the back, but I know ARP never shipped a chroma. The company was dead before anything was finished. The ARP closed its doors while the chroma was still a non-working prototype.
Well, it might be one that slipped out the back door. You never. I mean, I've got VCS3s that have never been on the books that come through here, which were they're laughingly called the car park VCS3s because the guys would sell them in the car park at lunchtime.
And well,
don't tell anybody.
Yeah, well, there's.
Did you notice how his reception started to get bad as he started to say that?
Bleeped out. Yeah. So, but yeah, no. Quadras. The quadras come in quite a lot.
I wonder why.
Well, I try to save as many as humanly possible. If the power supply is still vaguely in the case, there's a chance. The Genesis ones kept catching fire, so I think out of the 3 quadras he had, one was saved and the other 2 became car park spares, basically. Actually, I think they're both in the garage still. I think there's 3 quadras in the garage at least that I know of. And
could you
5
part them
chromas.
together? Could you part them together to make one?
I could
Franken quadra.
Yeah, I part them all together to make one non-working quadra.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I got. There's a grey meanie out there as well. I think it said serial number 12 or something on the back. Oh. She's in a terrible, terrible condition. I think somebody forgot to put it in the boot and backed over it. Oh, no. They smashed it to bits. I really did. So I might still get that one working because it's so rare and they're so beautiful,
Well, if you don't, I'll pay the shipping.
Or even if you do.
Indeed.
We will. We actually really, in all seriousness, we do hope that if people have synthesizers in disrepair, that they're just not able to fund or, put the time into it, that we will restore them and give them a home.
We shall rebuild them.
So
yeah, this could do with new boards in it, essentially. I think it could. Do you know what? I think it could be. If you throw enough money and time at something, everything can be restored.
Of course.
But the only reason I learned how to do Tolexing is because of, I used to get like 4 of these come in every week, and re-Tolexing, put new hardware on them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the stuff is available. I suppose a lot of the stuff could be restored. I mean, well, if you want some bits, I can get them over to you. Not doing anything good at the moment.
There is the one gang who just on principle rebuilt a Quadro with actual switches instead of membrane, and it worked apparently, but that was about all you could say of it.
Yeah. Well, that's CPU board has been the bane of my life. So yeah, but I mean, I think ARP were one of the only companies that ever did this particular assembly technique that drives me insane. And what they do is when they put an IC into the board, they bend flat.
All the pins.
Just the one in each corner. But when you try to desolder them, it nearly always damages the tracks, and it's just oh God, no! Why did you bend the pins over?
Oh, well, obviously, so they didn't fall out when you turned the PC board upside down to do the soldering.
You only have to just touch it a little bit, and it won't do that. You don't have to bend them flat and then hammer them to the back of the board and then solder them.
Oh,
well,
dear.
they were thinking of you, Kent.
They were, weren't they? You go, ha 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 ha, ha ha ha.
Spong will love this.
This will make his life hell.
So I have a question for the people over on the other side of the ocean. Why do some people call it the ARP instead of ARP? I've only heard that from people from England.
Wow.
I don't know why people do that. I've never called them ARPs ever.
You wouldn't
I've heard them referred to as ARP.
Yeah.
And you would never dare do that in the United States because of the AARP, which is an enormous lobbying organization that is keeping scared old white people in charge of this country.
Okay. No, we got the CON here for that.
Yeah. Oh, but someone asked, is it because it's Alan's initials? My understanding is that because of his initials, your dad had the nickname ARP.
Yes.
As from when he was like a teenager, right?
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, way back. Yeah. I've seen actually he dabbled in a lot in painting and things like that as well, and that's how he would sign his paintings.
I wonder if it's something to do with just. I think when, I guess, British people see letters in capitals, they assume that they are, it's an abbreviation, and so they just say, ARP, or BBC, or ITV.
But those you can't pronounce.
No, yes, that's true. That's true.
Bubaka. I watch Bubaka every night. What's the matter with you?
Bubaka.
Duvda.
Utava. And Channel 4. Oh, that doesn't work, does it?
No. I don't know. It's I do recall, the more we're talking about, I do recall hearing some people say ARP, but I think certainly in the last, I don't know how many years since, I guess there's been a resurgence in the popularity that ARP is just ARP, isn't it? And it's.
No, I still hear people say ARP even now, yeah. But I still hear, we had this thing just a few years ago, didn't we, with the whole Moog thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
so,
gosh.
and I love calling up Michelle on the video chat and going, Moog, because a cow goes moo, it doesn't go mo.
And of course, there was the classic children's character, wasn't there, in Will o' the Wisp?
Yeah.
The Moog.
Yeah.
The Moog.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was guilty of that, but I've conditioned myself to pronounce it properly.
You just have to watch John Denver schooling everyone on the 1984 Grammy Awards before they have the mimed performance of Howard Jones and Thomas Dolby and Herbie Hancock and Stevie Wonder. And he's out there in his very earnest John Denver voice. Named after Robert Moog, that's the way to pronounce it, not Moog, Moog, in his very dramatic John Denver voice, which was always fun.
That video just resurfaced recently, didn't it?
Yeah, I'll take Michelle's because she goes, no, it's pronounced Moog. Okay, well, if anybody's going to know, it's going to be you.
Yeah, well, yeah. That video, by the way, for the Roland book, I actually had to watch that video frame by frame because I had to find out what each and every machine on that stage was.
Oh my goodness.
And there's one I can't find. There's one I can't find. There's only very poor video recordings of that set. And the one I can't find is the one that's right in front of Howard Jones at the bottom of his rack, on the rightmost rack, seen from the audience. Everything else I've got, and boy, you could tell who sponsored that set. 3 Fairlights, none turned on.
Yeah. Well, it's the safest way to use a Fairlight live on stage is to not turn it on.
No comment.
Oh dear.
Indeed. No, we. Yes. No, I watched that video. It is. I mean, it's funny, and it's entertaining, but it was quite awful, really.
Well,
wasn't it?
it was, but for most people, it was mind blowing.
Yeah, true.
Howard Jones says that people have come up to him right up until today and said, I got into synthesizers because of that video. I went out and bought a synthesizer the next day. And it's happened to him apparently much more than once. So, I mean, I know my mind was blown, and I'd already been working in the industry, but it was just like, wow, that's $1 million worth of gear on that set, and none of it's plugged in. Thomas Dolby was playing samples
from a 606
from a 606 that wasn't plugged in.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, extraordinary what they can do in Hollywood these days.
Yeah.
Oh, digital technology.
Old Tesla's wireless power was in full effect there, wasn't it? That's Nikola Tesla, not the Tesla car company. Anyway.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yes, quite. Well, I think we've kind of come to a natural conclusion. Dina, it's always an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for all of your work that you do in preserving your father's memory and his legacy, and making this stuff available to as many people as possible, whether it's through Arps for All, whether it's just through the content that you provide on your YouTube channel. Do you think that when you get that stuff, the final tape converted, you'll be doing another show with that, if it's good, if it's good quality stuff?
Yes, I'm going to be. I mean, I've sort of taken an unannounced hiatus from the show over the summer mostly because of all the life changes that have been happening around here.
Sure.
But also at this point, I'm trying to put a lot of energy into the Symposium. The content for the next Lost Art tapes is going to be focused on the Odyssey, and those are going to be some of the demo tapes that I found. And this is of Tom Piggott demonstrating the ARP 2600 and the Odyssey together. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very cool stuff, and the cool wild fashion with the big lapels and it all feels very, very. It's like a timepiece. It's a real timepiece.
Yeah.
So those will be coming next, and I'm going to try to coordinate with him, show a little bit of excerpt of our interview as well, and hopefully get him on the show because he's fascinating to speak with, really, really fascinating. He's a character. He there was something, and I'll have to find it and share it with all of you later. But he sent me some articles about meeting the astronauts and cosmonauts as a representative of ARP, and I have to find that, but it was to be continued.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
Well, the keyboards of the space age, so why not?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm having a little technical issue here. There we go. I think we're ready. So, yes. Mike, thank you for joining us this week.
Always a pleasure. You can call on me at a moment's notice.
Indeed.
And I just want to yell out to the audience, thanks as always for being here. I am going to be at NobCon in September.
Oh, yes.
If airlines and COVID willing. And I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of you guys. And you can find out that I talk just as much in person, if not more. Get me and Doty, and you guys have to get me and Doty on the same show. I guarantee you guys will just have to sit back and eat popcorn.
That's right.
That's fun.
You have to make it a 4-hour show.
But yeah, radiospiral.net is still going 24/7, and my shows are at 6 p.m. Pacific, which would be a balmy 3 a.m. In the UK, but Tuesday nights. And doing no music, working on the book.
Yes.
And thank you again, and always glad to see people. And who knows, maybe I'll dye my beard for the next time.
Go on, lad. Go on.
Of course, Patch and Tweet with Korg is available to order now.
Yes.
Am I correct? Yep.
Yes.
And
yes.
shipping soon?
The bundle, well, the books are done. The books are printed, as Dina can tell you. The only ones that are available alone have gone out to contributors. The bundles are available. They're taking orders, but right now I don't know when they're going to ship. And that's really up to Korg. The packaging's been designed, et cetera, and we're just, we're hoping. Cool. It will happen. We don't know when, and we thank people for their patience.
Awesome. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us, and of course, as and when the new book is ready to go, do make sure. Give us first dibs. Have a quick look at that. Let me just also put up onto the screen the Alan R. Pearlman Foundation website, which you can find at alanrpearlmanfoundation.org for all things foundation related, including the projects and the store, and there's a blog in there as well, so do bookmark that and go back to it for all the latest updates, and follow Dina's social media channels. The Alan R. Pearlman Foundation has Twitter and Facebook, so if you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on there, please do that. Also, another shout out for Google Arts and Culture with it's gone off the screen there. I must have hit the wrong button. There we go. So this is the Music Maker Machines website, which has got a huge amount of stuff.
Set aside a day. Aside a day. You'll need it. It's
a proper rabbit hole.
It's a proper rabbit hole.
And of course, if you want to learn more about ARP in general, I promote this as often as I can. Alex Ball's Electromotive, the story of ARP instruments, which is a near 2 hours, so it was feature-length documentary by the great Alex Ball on the story of ARP instruments, which is just a fascinating watch. Again, set a couple of hours aside for that one. It's worth every minute that you watch it. And of course, there is also the Archives Alan R. Pearlman Foundation YouTube channel with all of the stuff on there. So lots to bookmark and keep your weekend busy. Thank you again, Dina. Thank you, Mike. And of course, thank you to you other guys, Ben and Kent, for your contribution and your support this evening.
Hey, Ben, have fun with Heaven 17. Knock 'em dead.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it.
Make that dye job worth it.
I'll be there.
Absolutely.
Everybody's telling
let's
me
have
I
a
should
close
go.
up here. Come on, let's have a close up.
I'll be there, looking at Martin Ware if he's got any stubble, checking out how dark it is.
Well, Martin's going the other way. He's losing. He's now a proud dome. Going on there, as we saw when he was on the show. Of course, Martin's got a new book coming out as well, Electronically Yours, Volume 1, the memoirs. He's just signed. One of those is going to be mine. 1,000 copies that he signed for that, coming out very soon. So hopefully we'll get him on to talk about that again a little bit later.
Try and get a copy before Friday.
Well, try and do that. You got any? Is Friday the next gig? You got anything this weekend?
That's it. Yeah, we're not doing anything this weekend.
Feet up then.
Getting ready for that one. It's a bit of
you can dye the rest of your hair.
Yeah, I haven't got any more hair.
Okay. How about you, Kent? You dyeing your hair?
Yeah, blue.
Blue. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
apparently
people wanted me to do blue or purple for my beard. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you dropped that. I think you dropped that look. I've never been one for dye. I did the whole thing in the 80s with lemon juice and sitting out in the sun.
Yeah.
And that kind of worked a little bit, but now I just
turned
go
into
grey.
a meringue.
I had big red hair, red, big.
I tried to do Howard Jones, but my hair is kind of like really fine, and so even a whole can of hairspray and gel, it would stay there and then just wilt down. So I kind of gave up. So now I just now I just have a natural tint of grey. And that's.
I'd love to do my Phil Oakey again, but now I just look like half of Gandalf, wouldn't I? That's the only problem.
Gandalf, yeah. Of course, let's not forget our wonderful viewers, our wonderful audience, everyone in the chat. Thank you.
Click.
So
if you
much,
haven't clicked yet, you've got a moment. Please click. Click like. It helps. It really does.
It does indeed. Also, can I also recommend you go and watch our VP1 videos, which are doing extraordinarily well and getting tons of great feedback about that, which is super rewarding because Manny put so much effort into that. And for me, it was a proper geek fest because I love that instrument.
It was a good show, though.
Yeah, so go and check that out on the channel. Dina, did you have something else you wanted to...
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to mention that in October, I plan on being at Synthfest in Sheffield.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And to meet all of you in person, because I feel like I've known you all for years, and it's kind of strange.
Bring me back a T-shirt. I'll pay you to pay them, and bring me back a T-shirt because I'm not going to get one, and I'm going to be seeing you later in October, I think. So
right, and that's the other thing. I am scheduled to be a speaker at Synthplex in Burbank.
Nice.
Yes.
So I'm very excited. I really wanted to go earlier this year to California, and I was sorry that I wasn't able to do that. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'll be there too. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. Boddicker just said anything, just I know you. Get on stage and start talking. You'll be fine. And I'm sitting there thinking Hans Zimmer's going to be in the audience. Alan Howarth is going to be in the audience, and I'm just thinking, yeah, sure. Just shoot my mouth off for 45 minutes. Let's kill our career, don't we?
Go for it. Go for it. Hopefully, Hans will be. Possibly, might be. I don't know. He might be coming on here. You're trying, aren't you, Ken?
It's looking more possible now than it ever has. He said yes. He said yes.
Just need to nail him down to a date.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we're fed up with just a cardboard cutout wearing a Sonic State T-shirt.
Well, I was going to put a flat cap on it.
That would have been good, yeah.
Hey
up, Hans.
Oh, yeah.
Hey up, Hans.
Yeah. You go, seems legit.
Talking
you're
of
going to let
guests...
me put this harp down.
Can I also just take a moment to let you know that we do have some other guests on coming up very soon. So let me just get the dates up on my screen so I can give accurate information. We have got coming up next week, we've got another repeat offender. We're going to be joined once more by the brilliant Mel Wesson.
The Mels.
Who is an absolute legend in every sense of the word. And he's going to be coming back on, hopefully broadcasting from his newly refurbished studio, which should be fun. That's not it there. That's a wonderful graphic that our Ben's put together. He does all of these, by the way. Thank you, Ben. Also, while I'm at it, thank you to Sasquatch and to our moderators, or our other moderators, for moderating the chat room and putting up the links as we talk about the subjects. Thank you very much indeed. Mel Wesson will be here August 12th. Then the following week, all being well, we're going to have Mr. David Caulfield. Now, I don't have a graphic for him just yet, but David Caulfield, you might not know the name, but he was, amongst other companies, head honcho at Akai Professional during their heyday. And he was also involved with EMU as well. And he's got some very interesting archival legacy kind of projects on the boil. So we're going to be talking to him on August the 19th. And then on August the 26th, this one I'm super excited about because he's one of the nicest guys in synthesizers and he has a fantastic taste in roll neck jumpers. It's Benj Edwards, who is just a remarkable musician, and he has this fantastic channel on YouTube, Zach Dagobah, where you can watch the Meme Tune show. Episode 5, I believe, is coming out either tomorrow or Sunday, so do stay tuned for that. Lots of amazing synth goodness on there, and it's all done with a slight wink and a nod to the late 1970s PBS style documentaries or BBC Two Open University stuff. It's fantastic. So he is going to be on the show on August the 26th, and then in September we've got the new star of internet based synthesizer shows. Been friends with him for a long while. But Paulie Alex Bowie is going to be coming onto the show in September. He seems to be everywhere at the moment, so why not us as well? So yeah, Paulie will be joining us and telling us all about their projects that they've got going on, and there are many and numerous. And then the week after that, see, we've been busy. We've got the one and only Jem Godfrey, songwriter supreme, massive synth nerd, just acquired a Fairlight Series 3. So he's going to be joining us in September as well. And then, again, I don't have a graphic for this one just yet because it's a little bit far off. But on September 30th, we've got Bob Coover joining us from Groove Synthesis, who have, of course, just launched the third wave wavetable synthesizer. That's an incredible instrument.
Very cool.
Saw a demo by Pef the other day, and it's just wow. He actually posted a video. I can't remember what platform it was on, but go and just Google Pef, and you'll find his stuff. He took an OBX8, and he just turned around. He's got a third wave next to him there, and he's sampling stuff from the OBX8 and making them into wavetables on the third wave and then playing them all within a matter of a few seconds, and it's remarkable stuff. So Bob's coming on the show, going to tell us everything about the third wave, and hopefully maybe have one and give us a bit of a demo as well. And then I think I can say this. I want to tease you all, but we've got, hopefully in December, we are trying to we've got a commitment to a date. We've got David Gamson, ex of Scritti Politti, producer extraordinaire. He will be coming on the show in December, and I'm super excited about that one because I'm a huge Scritti Politti fan. So loads of guests coming up on the show. So do make sure you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, you ring that bell to make sure you get your notifications. And thank you all once again for your patronage. As ever, it is so appreciated. Thank you to everyone that has made a donation. Did I miss it? I did. There we go. David Ramirez, thank you ever so much. That is so welcome, and will go into the pot of cash that we use to try and do some professional shows week in, week out. Thank you ever so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Have a fantastic weekend, whatever you're doing, wherever you're going. May it be safe and fruitful and full of happiness and joy. And we will see you same time, same place next week. Take care, everyone.
So long, everybody. Stay
Bye-bye.
safe and well. Love your faces.
Bye-bye.